just hold me tight. No words are needed.
How are we doing, everyone? I'm going to do a quick catch up. It's absolutely bonkers right now. Just so much Liverpool news at the moment. It's been a bit crazy. I was going to do just loads to talk about. I can see my voice is jumping. Can you hear me okay? Can you let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay? And video's coming across all right? Good. Yeah, good. So big up everyone in the chat. Also, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. It's lagged for a few seconds. Is it okay now though? Cool. Right. Wanted to have a quick catch up. Obviously, we just had the news that Curtis Jones and Gerald Quansah won't be going to the Euros, and it's going to be Joe Gomez and Trent Alexander-Arnold who'll be going. Interesting thing is Trent's going to be playing as a midfielder. Looks like Joe Gomez is going to be basically backup for everybody as left back, right back, and centre back, which is fine. And to be fair, with the siege just to go to the Euros, I think the recognition of how well he played has paid off, which is good. Because for some reason our manager dropped him when he was massively in form and playing really well as a left back, and he just binned him out of the team. And unfortunately, we blew everything and turned to shit for the last 10 games because Joe Gomez wasn't as a left back anymore, and that's just a fact. It's just a fact. We had no defensive cover. Robbo was just all the way up the other end of the pitch trying to score goals, which is literally not what his job is. And Joe Gomez gave us that stability, and we ended up completely crumbling and losing in the league, losing in the cup, losing in the Europa League, like literally everything. And that was all in the combination of Joe Gomez not being in the team anymore. That's just a fact. Anyway, I didn't want to talk about that, but I have. I wanted to talk a little bit more about all of the transfer stuff that's been going on. Fabrizio Romano's literally just posted up today that Barella's signing a new contract with Inter Milan. So now we can put Barella to bed. That's done. Okay. Barella is not coming to the Premier League. He's not signing for Liverpool. Okay. Let's stop talking about Barella because he's never gonna be a Liverpool player. End of. Done. Next up, Luis Diaz. I'll show you this article. Really interesting article. I'm actually going to close my other browser because it doesn't feel like my video's playing well. I think it's okay now. Yeah, it is. It was the other browser. Okay, so I'm going to share a couple of articles which I think are quite interesting. So I'll do this now. Is that sharing? 2 seconds. So we're going to share this one, which was literally today. Here. Yep, this one here, which is literally today in the Express, which is a crazy one, and it'll never happen, but we can still talk about it. Barcelona looking to maybe swap Luis Diaz with Raphinha. Now, Raphinha was on the committee's list a couple of years ago, and that's just a fact. And I'm pretty sure Raphinha would have been on any committee's list a couple of years ago because he was absolutely tearing it up for Leeds. And he had a really good season for Leeds and scored a bag of goals and got his move to Barcelona. Like, I don't know how you feel about Raphinha in the chat. Like, would you swap Raphinha for Diaz? I would. I'd swap Raphinha for Diaz, like 100%. Like, Raphinha is a better player than Diaz. Like, he scores more goals, he creates more. That's just a fact. And he's also a Brazilian international. So I would swap Raphinha for Diaz all day long. Interesting thing is if we actually looked at Raphinha, which I'm going to do now. I'm going to share my tab so you can see this. Where's Brazil? Where is Brazil? Sorry, I'm just looking for the Brazilian national team. Okay, there it is. Okay, so if we just looked at Raphinha here, so he's 27, so he's the same age as Diaz anyway. 6 goals, 9 assists for Barcelona in 28 games. Yeah, they're not great numbers in goals, but 9 assists is good. Like, we can't poo-poo 9 assists. Like that's a good outlay for Barcelona. Hang on, let me go back to the right screen. Yeah, this one here. So we just look at his numbers. Like he's high, like four shots. Like he sits with the Sakas and the Cole Palmers and the Fodens and the Leaos. Like it's really where you want him to sit. And you notice he doesn't sit with a with a Luis Diaz in there. Look, he's had 17 starts, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 GA in 17 starts. Like, take that all day long. I'll take that all day long. He's 26, by the way. He's not 27. The season before, 38 games, 25 starts, 14 GA. So he's actually got better. Barcelona won the league the season before, by the way. They didn't win the league this year. I mean, you just look at his numbers. Like with Leeds, it's similar. He's 14, 15 GA every single year since he signed for Leeds. I mean, it's a much for a muchness, isn't it? Really, if you look at it, you know, would Raphinha provide much more? You know, we're looking for maybe an extra 5 GA to kind of bump that. Yeah, I think I'd probably take the money. I think I'd probably take 50 million for Diaz, and maybe look at a Brian and Bomo, who's got. I mean, he's got 15 GA as well this season. Like he's only got 22 starts. I mean, that's really good. I mean, you look at those numbers. You know, 15 GA in 22 games. Brian and Bomo. You know, you get him for 50. Yeah, I'm going to have a look at Olise now. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I want to talk about Olise. I'm a massive, massive fan. It's an interesting one, but anyway, it's been reported. Barcelona looking at a swap deal for Diaz, and look, a lot of people are talking about Diaz staying. Just don't see it. There's too much. There's just way too much floating around. Raphinha spent 2 seasons with Leeds, 17 goals, 2 assists during 65 top flight games. Obviously, they went down. I mean, his numbers at Barcelona are pretty similar. 10 goals, 13 assists in 37 appearances. It's not bad. It's really not that bad. For a 27-year-old, if you're getting a swap between him and Diaz, I would take it. I would take it. That's just my thought. Do you agree? If they offered a swap deal, would you take it? Obviously, Barcelona don't have the cash. Like, would you take the swap deal? Raphinha for Diaz, I would. Anyway, wanted to also cover this one as well. AP says he wouldn't. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So you'd rather keep Diaz. Okay, that's fair. Mbeumo is a Villa level player. You know, to be fair, he could be, but Villa are in the Champions League just like us. I think Brian Mbeumo is about to, if he's providing those numbers out of Brentford, that's a Brentford, by the way, yeah, he's providing 15 GA in 22 games for Brentford, yeah. Do you think he could provide 20 GA for Liverpool? He's got better players around him, more attacking, more creative players, McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, Salah. Do you think maybe he could provide more? I think he could. He's 24, 23, 24. Cameroon, obviously the AFCON, but be a year to wait. I think he's maybe ready for the next level. He's an Edward signing for me. He feels like an Edward signing. Feels like a Moneyball signing. Get him while he's cheaper. Get a couple of years out of him. If he pops, sell him to Barcelona, PSG for like double the money that we paid. Buy him for 40, sell him for 80, a couple of years' time. I don't know. Anyway, that's my thought. I've got a couple more articles to cover here as well. 2 seconds. This one, which is in goal, by the way. Barcelona willing to sacrifice Raphinha. Oh, hang on. Barcelona willing to sacrifice Raphinha. Let me just get rid of that. Yeah, Barcelona willing to sacrifice Raphinha as the Liga Giants plot move for Luis Diaz. So that's in goal. So that's another big outlet. So you've got the Express and you've got goal. I'm just saying, like these and also Mundo Deportivo have claimed that Barcelona an initial 49 million. I think there isn't smoke without fire, and there's a lot of smoke right now. There really is a lot of smoke around Diaz. I think that's a possibility. I also wanted to cover this as well, which a lot of people haven't flagged, haven't brought up, which I will now, which is this one. If you don't know about this kid, Asan Odragogu, he's 19 years old. He's an attacking midfielder. he's destined for big things. So this was on Pletty Goal, which is a really good outlet, a really good reporter. He had a contract with Bayern Munich, and it's not happened. It's been cancelled. I don't know why, but Bayern Munich cancelled it, which means he's now available to join another club. So he's got a release clause of 9 million, which means he can move to another club in the Premier League for 9 million. And he's a guy that we looked at from Schalke a while ago. Like, if you've ever played Football Manager, he's an absolute monster. Like, he's an absolute monster. He plays right across the midfield, and he also plays right across the attacking midfield. A number of clubs have been looking at him, but he chose to go to Bayern Munich. Now that's been cancelled, which means he's now available. He is another 100%. He is another Moneyball Edwards type of signing. These are the type of guys that we wouldn't have gone for under Klopp, because Klopp didn't want to spend that money, and it's only small change, like 8 million, 10 million here, getting a player which you can then sell on for like 50, 60 million in like 2 or 3 years' time if he's had a couple of good loans, or maybe he could just become a worldie. You just don't know. Anyway, that's another one which could be available, which could pop up this season in the window. He's got a 9 million release clause. Another one I'm going to talk about is the price tag, which has been now put in place on Caoimhin Kelleher. This was by David Lynch. He's normally a good source. He also said that the Varela stuff and the Inacio stuff is dead. Liverpool aren't going to look at Varela, and Liverpool aren't going to look at Inacio. Dead. Wide of the mark. Not happening. He thinks Caoimhin Kelleher is going to be sold for over 25 million. He's not going to be let go any less than that. And the reason why is because James Trafford went for 21 million. And he'd done a lot less to be signed for that kind of money. We got offered 15 million for him last year from Nottingham Forest, but we turned it down. I think Wolves, Forest, and Celtic could all look at him. I also think there's probably other clubs. I've literally just talked about that, mate. If you watch back the show, the start of it was Barella not coming to signing a new deal, and let's just forget about him. But big up. So yeah, that's kind of where we sit with Kelleher. The interesting thing is we have been no probs, mate, no probs. Fingers on the pulse. Well, you're right there. Seems if we're going to have a big summer. Ederson, Geertruida, centre back. Yeah, I think it could be a few. I'm going to cover another player here. I'm just going to get rid of these links as they're clogging up. Ooh. Okay. Going to cover this one here, which is this one. Yeah, going to cover this one here, which is by James Pearce. This one might put this one to bed as well. So James Pearce was asked during a podcast I'm not aware of there being anything on that one. So James Pearce was asked about Brian and Buemo, and he actually said he knows nothing about this. So I think that's an interesting one because Jimbo is the one that broke the news about Van der Ven, not Van der Ven. Who's the kid? Who's the centre back for Liverpool? Sepp van der Berg. Sorry. Jimbo was the one that broke the news about Sepp van der Berg not having a buying clause or a buyout clause in his contract, and him being available to come back to Liverpool, and also the fact that Liverpool were looking for 20 million for him. Jimbo's the person who broke that news, so he obviously gets good information from the club. So if he knows nothing about Brian and Braimu, then maybe there is nothing with Brian and Braimu. Just saying. I'm also going to look at this one, which is Geertruida. You've just brought it up, AP. Interesting thing about Geertruida, which you may or may not know about, is he signed a new contract last year with Feyenoord. So the information around him is Dirk Kuyt opened up and talked about the talent, and he asked him, and he said, "I'm a Feyenoord man. They are doing very well at the moment. They have a good manager in Arne Slot, and some of their younger guys like Koku and Lutsharel. This is what Dirk Kuyt talked about back in 2023. So we talked about Koku and Geertruida as being their standout players. It won't take long for the interest of the top European teams to be there for them. I hope Liverpool is interested in Feyenoord players." So it's really interesting that Dirk Kuyt's talking about like Liverpool hoping he's interested in Feyenoord players, because we actually took their manager. So when he worked there as the under-19 coach, Koku, Geertruida, and Duran Timber, Kenneth Taylor were all good players that he recommended. And he also talked about Gapco, who we've obviously got now. So it's really interesting that the Kuyt is talking about Geertruida. But I just don't think Geertruida's got legs. He's just signed a new contract. Where's he going to play? Like, is he going to play as the left back? Like, is that what we're going to sign him for? Are we going to sign Geertruida as the left back? Because if we're going to sign Geertruida as a left back, then we have to have a conversation around what about the other guys that we're targeted with as left backs. So I'm going to share my tab here. So I'm just looking at Feyenoord's team. Okay, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. Good. So I'm just going to scan over Feyenoord's team. So Geertruida, 23, 41 games, 41 starts. Wow, like he's the main guy. 8 goals, 5 assists. Wow, 13 GA from a defender. I mean, that is. He scored a penalty. He got 4 yellow cards. I mean, I'm not really interested in that. I mean, that's interesting. 13 GA from a. Yeah, I'm kind of blown away by that. 8 goals, 5 assists. That's the type of guy that Xabi Alonso will be looking at. Okay, so let's have a look. So season before, when they won the league, I mean, he's been his main guy. Like, it's hard not to see why Arne Slot wouldn't want to bring this guy to Liverpool. He was his main guy. Like, let's have a look at his position. Let's have a look at his. Let's have a look at his position where he plays. I know it's got defender, right-footed. I can see that. Let me just see where this guy plays. Look. 2 seconds. Bear with me. I am just finding out where he plays on the pitch. Bear with me. Okay. So I'm sharing this tab now. Can we all see? Yeah, good. Okay, so let's have a look. So, I mean, he predominantly played as a right back. Like, we don't need a right back, and he didn't play on the left. So everyone talking about this left-sided player, he just isn't. He just isn't this left-sided player. Like, I think we need to really look at where players play, because okay, so where did he play? Okay, so he played as a right back last season. So he's defender right back. I mean, do we need to sign a right back? 26 times as a right back, yeah? 6 times as a centre back, 2 times as a left back. Like, we're not signing him as a left back if he's only played 2 games. I mean, to be fair, he played 2 games and got an assist. That's not bad. So he's got 198 games, 24 goals. Bloody hell. 24 goals. Like, did you know he scored 24 goals? I mean, that's insane. Like, that's insane. I mean, if we sign him as a centre back, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine if we sign him as a centre back. So if we signed him as a centre back and he played, and then he was cover, or maybe we signed him as the main right back for next season, and then Bradley's backup, which is fine, just absolutely fine, and then Trent plays in midfield. But he scored 24 goals. Sorry, 26 goals. 24 goals. That's mental. 100%. 100%. If they sign him, then that means Trent will be getting used as a midfielder. 100%. Okay, I'll put it out here for the chat. If we move Trent into midfield, would you want Geertruida as your right back for next season with Bradley as cover? Yes or no? In the chat. Yes or no in the chat. 24 people here. Come on. And you have to also remember we haven't got a left back really. Like, we still need a left back. The links are there. Like, the links are there. If Slot's going to go back to Feyenoord for any players, it's going to be Geertruida and it's going to be Matt Weaver. So you think Bradley's more than good enough? Bradley's only played 15 games for Liverpool. Like, you haven't got a huge sample size. It's an interesting one. He would cost a lot of money, but 24 goals from your right back is a mammoth number of goals. I don't care. Like, I don't care what anyone says. 11 assists and 24 goals. That's better GA than Diaz and Gapco, and they play up front. Like, we have to be realistic here. Like, if he can score goals, if he can score goals like that, and he has been for Arnie Slot for 2 years, then I'm taking him at Liverpool, because what's he going to do at Liverpool? He's going to score goals because Arnie Slot's going to set up for him to get goals. I can't believe people are saying no. Like, for me, you've got a right back who's popping in 24 goals. You can score goals in the Dutch league. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I want new left backs. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. I mean, yeah, no, I get that. I get that, but the numbers are, you know, he scored 8 goals last season. Okay, he scored 8 goals and 5 assists last season. They're like Diaz numbers. And the season before he scored 3. Oh, okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from. Okay, yeah, I get you. Yeah, okay, maybe that season, maybe he had a really a breakout season in the lower leagues. Okay, it's interesting now, but he can score goals. Like, we can see that. Okay, so the majority of the people want Bradley, want Trent in midfield, and they want to sign a left back. I get that. I get that. Okay, so I wanted to have another look over Hincapié, because Hincapié is the guy that we are really looking at. His name's come up over and over again now. He played 16 times last season, centre back. Played once as a left back, so he played twice as left midfield. Like, he hasn't played a huge amount of games as a left back, I'll be honest. I think the season before, yeah, he played 10 and 16 and 4. So he kind of spreads between left back and centre back, but they had the better season with him as centre back this year, which is an interesting one. So he kind of floats between left back and centre back, like, over and over. It's an interesting one with him. I genuinely don't know who we're going to go for as a left back. Like, I have no. Yeah, it's a conversation that's just going to carry on and on, in it. 42 million's been quoted by some outlets. Yep, I'm not disagreeing. Like, I think he's a great player. I think he's another Ecuadorian off the conveyor belt, which is interesting. So we've covered that one. Next, we're going to cover this one, which is not one that we probably don't want to talk about, but it's reared its ugly head again. And Saudi Arabia are looking at players again. This one has been brought up by Rudy Galletti, who's a very good reporter. He does Sky in Germany. Apparently, they're going to meet with Virgil van Dijk and his agent after the Euros to talk about trying to lure him to Saudi Arabia. It's not going away. I've already covered that one. The next one, I've covered Barcelona and Diaz. I've covered that one, which is more Diaz stuff. There's just so many Diaz things. We're gonna look at this one next. This is according to Sports Zone, and I know that the spoofer Romano said that it's not. Liverpool have just spoken to the agent, but this is apparently we've agreed in principle, personal terms now with Ederson, and the 45 million pound bid, 45 million pound euro bid has been made apparently, and mainly it's because Paris Saint-Germain are looking at him as well, and it's also probably the case that Juventus are looking. Well, Juventus are actually trying to sign his teammate Timo Cooper-Mears. They've offered 40 million, and it's been rejected. And they're also Juventus are trying to throw in Heisen, the Danish centre back, as a sweetener to try and get that one over the line. I believe that we are going in for Ederson because we scouted Cooper-Mears and we found out that Ederson's a better fit, and we've also realised that if we don't get Ederson, if we try for Ederson after Cooper-Mears goes to Juve, they might not sell both. So I think we're trying to get Ederson before the Cooper-Mears deal gets done, and also the fact that Barry Hunter's been in Brazil over the last couple of weeks, and we seem to be linked with loads of Brazilians. Like, we're linked with Ederson, we're linked with Bruno Guimaraes, we're also linked with Douglas Luiz. All of a sudden, all the Brazilians have come out of the woodwork, and also Raphinha. Like, that doesn't appear from nowhere, because we've got a scout in Brazil, maybe talking to Brazilian agents, and also Brazil are doing a Copa America out there as well. So maybe something's happening there. I don't know. It's an interesting one. How do you feel about Ederson, chat? Would you like Ederson? If we signed Ederson and Hincapié and potentially Olise, is that a good window for you? Is that a good transfer window? Yes or no? Would you be happy with that transfer window? And potentially we got a backup for Kelleher, or we brought Jaros in, and Jaros played as number 2. Jaros is in the Czechoslovakian European team. Like, he's the backup for Limo. I can't remember his name. So the people in the chat are saying that's a good window. I think that's a good window. I really do. Like, Ederson as your DM, Hincapié as your left back, and Olise as a replacement for Diaz. Like, that's a sensational window. Like, it really is. And I actually think that window could be done for less than 150 million. That makes a lot of sense, by the way, that Betis want Adrian, because Adrian wants to go back to Spain. It makes a lot of sense. Like, Adrian's been offered a contract. It doesn't mean he signed it, because he's not at the club. He's been released. So right now he's not actually under contract. So we've offered him a contract, whether he accepts it or not. But he wants to go back to Spain, and if there's interest there, he'll go. Like, he'll go. He's 37. He wants to move back there. He also wants to play. Like, he doesn't play at Liverpool. He hasn't played in 2 years. Yeah, you think that's a 10 out of 10 window? I do. I really do think that's a great window. And you've got a manager that's going to play players in the right positions. No square pegs, round holes now. We're not shuffling players into positions because you've got some kind of weird bet on with your assistant manager. It's just, you're not having bets on the training ground. Like, if this player plays really good, I'm going to give you my wages. No, we're run by adults now. Like, players are going to play where they're supposed to play, and players are going to go on loan because they need to go on loan. So Ederson, I'd be happy with that. I really would. If we can get him for less than 50 million, I think that's an absolute bargain. He scored 7 goals last season, by the way. So he's got goals in him. He's really got goals in this lad. Just look at him. Just look at him against us. Just watch him against us. He just battered our team. Battered us. We've never been beaten at Anfield like that under Klopp. We just haven't. Like, he absolutely dominated our midfield, and he made Timo Cooper-Mares look like a worldie because he gave him so much time and space on the ball, and that's what he can do for McAllister. He can do that for McAllister. He can give him time and space on the ball, and you know how good Matt can be if he's got time and space. Okay, so the next one I want to cover is this one, which I'm really excited about. Really, really excited about. And this is from the Liverpool Echo, by the way. The Liverpool Echo don't post crap because they're in Liverpool and they get the best stuff. Apparently, well, it's not apparently, we pulled out of the Somerville. We pulled out of the Somerville contracts because Crystal Palace are going to sign Somerville, and we're going to sign Michael Olise, and that's their replacement. And if Diaz goes, we can get Olise. Even if Diaz doesn't go, I still think Olise should be signed because Mo Salah needs backup, and he needs a replacement eventually. I think Mo is going to stay for another year, and then he's going to leave on a free transfer. I know the chat will go mental and say we should be selling players, but I just feel like some players have given so much to the club, and we've had so much value out of them that they should be able to leave on their own accord. And I think Virgil van Dijk and I think Mo Salah are the guys that should be able to walk away from the club, and Alisson. I think they should all be able to just walk away from the club on a free transfer, and I'm fine with it. I really am, and I think I think in our heart of hearts we will be okay with it as well. Like, they should be able to have one final good payday, and if we get another year out of them, then I think that's amazing. I think contracts will be offered. I don't think Mo will accept his. And if he walks away after a year, then that's fine. We get another year out of him. We get another 30 GA next year. Is anyone complaining about that? Scored 18 goals. He got 11 assists this season. Absolutely insane numbers again for a guy who doesn't play as a striker. Imagine if he played as a striker. Anyway, so, and this is the interesting word, prioritize. Prioritize means that we are going full pelt for this guy. The interesting thing is, we've obviously talked about his release clause. Leeds Live, no longer a target. Olise from Selhurst Park, 60 million. The interesting thing about this is the release clause is only available to teams that are in the Champions League. Chelsea and Manchester United are not in the Champions League, and they are his suitors. They are the teams that were targeting him. They're not in the Champions League, so they're going to be charged an insane amount of money. But we can take him for 60 million. I think it's amazing business. I really, really do. I can't speak highly enough about this guy. Like, his numbers are mental for the team that he plays in. Like, Michael Olise is doing better numbers than Zaha, and Zaha was like their star man. Like, it's not a coincidence that Mateta has suddenly got better because he's getting tap-ins off Olise. I think Olise produced 16 GA in 10 games last season, and he had a bad injury. And we're all talking about the injury. I get that. But if you can come back off a bad injury and hit numbers like that, then I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. Eze's a really good player as well, but I don't think Eze's going to come to Liverpool. I also think he's injury prone. I think he really is injury prone. I'm quite happy that Olise is probably not in the French squad for the Euros, because if he has an incredible Euros, then a Man United or a Chelsea might throw 100 million at him. But I think he's destined for big things. I'm actually going to look at Olise's numbers, actually. Yeah, I'm going to look at Olise's numbers. So I'm going to look at Olise's numbers here. Can you see my screen? Yep, you can. Good. I'm just going to take that chat off. Sorry. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat as well, by the way. And if there's any players you want me to talk about, put them in the chat if you know something I don't. But I'm covering everything which I think is relevant. He's obviously been in the French team 3 times, but he hasn't played, so he hasn't come off the bench. 19 games, 10 goals, 6 assists. Like, really? I mean, oh man, those numbers are pretty insane. Like, they're pretty insane. Okay, so he had a really bad hamstring injury this season. We know that. We know that. Okay, played 16 times off the right wing. Yeah, okay. So he played most of his games off the right wing. 19 games, 10 goals, 6 assists in 1,277 minutes. That is frightening. I mean, those numbers. I mean, and last season, his assists. This is in a Roy Hodgson team, by the way. So he played 20. I mean, he's not injury prone. Like, can we just end that now? Because he's just not injury prone. Like, he had one bad bloody injury. Played the whole of last season fine. Not one injury last season. 25 games right wing, 5 games attacking midfielder, 2 cent. I mean, he can play all over the place, by the way. 37 games in a Hodgson team, 2 goals, 11 assists in 2,700 minutes. They're good numbers for Crystal Palace, by the way. Season before, no injury. Okay, inflammation of the sole of the foot. He missed 2 games. Okay, so he got a bang on the foot, but he never missed any games the season before. 23 games, right wing. Same again. 26 games, 2 goals, 5 assists. That's as a 20-year-old, by the way. He's only 22. So can we kind of put this myth to bed now that he's injury prone? He had one injury this season, which was a hamstring injury. So he's not injury prone. I've just given you his 3 seasons worth of him. 3 seasons worth of him. He's not injury prone. He had a bad injury. That just happens. That's not injury prone. It's just a bad injury. Okay, we just end that there. Great. Okay. Let me look at him on FB Ref so we can see his specific stats. So let's see what he's producing. Okay. 22. I mean, look at this. 99 percentile in everything for wingers. Look, absolutely everything. This guy is an absolute monster. Like, he's compared with Raphinha. He's compared with Phil Foden, by the way, and Massalia. I mean, if we're not signing him, who are we signing if we're not signing? He's on £100,000 a week at Palace as well, by the way, which is a hefty chunk. It's a hefty chunk for Palace. 14 starts, by the way. I know he played 19 games, but 14 starts, 10 goals, 6 assists. Like, honestly, like he's an absolute monster. He's just not injury prone. That's just crap. Utter crap. "19 GA he got in the championship, by the way, when he was 18. Blimey. This guy's destined. This guy reminds me of Raheem Sterling when he was cooking. Let's have a look at his goal shot creation. Can we see my screen? Yeah, you can see my screen. Good. Oh, sorry, FB Ref, where are we? But am I sharing the tab still? Okay, sharing the tab. Okay, so Crystal Palace. Shot creation actions, 82. 5 shot creation actions in every game. 4.6. I mean, goal creating actions, 14. I mean, that's more than Diaz has done in his entire career at Liverpool. And he got that last season. I mean, he touches the ball consistently in the attacking third and the midfield third. I mean, he's got 48% ratio at take-ons. I mean, he's a progressive monster. He carries the ball consistently. He likes receiving the ball as well, so he's not scared of taking the ball under pressure. I mean, he only completed nine matches, so he comes off as a sub quite a lot, which means he's an impact player as well. I mean, it's hard not to look at that guy and go, yeah, you know what, 50 million release clause, get that done. Like, how is that not being done? How is that signing not being made already now? Like, he is the Mo Salah replacement. He is your Mo Salah replacement. Like, he started to score goals. That was his problem. He never scored enough goals. Like, he starts to score goals now, but he also creates a lot. Like, you know, if you want Nunez to have tap-ins all day long, then you need to be getting the likes of Olise. Like Bakayoko's going to cost 40 million, possibly 45 million. Like Olise's played in the Premier League for 3 years. Like he had good numbers under Roy Hodgson. And can you imagine the numbers he's going to get? Like, I think it's a no-brainer. I really hope that one gets done. I really hope that one gets done. I'm surprised Man City didn't get him instead of Doku. Like there must have been really close between him and Doku last season, which one they're going to go for. And maybe it was the fact that he re-signed a new contract and he obviously put in the release clause. Like maybe that's the difference. It went from 30 million to 60 million and it put them off. And that's why they went for Doku at 30 million. Maybe that's the reason why. Financial fair play, who knows? But like if Man City get rid of Jack Grealish, then they're going to be looking at Olise, like 100%. They're going to be looking at Olise. So this needs to be done soon. I think he's ready made. Yeah. Honestly, I think the Liverpool team will score bags more goals as well because he's got an incredible cross, like whipped cross. Like you just have to watch the way Palace play sometimes. Like look at some of those goals that they score. He's the one that crosses it. It's him and Eze. Like you take him and Eze out of the Palace team, they lose a lot. They lose a lot of creativity. That explains probably why they're looking at Somerville. Somerville will be an Olise replacement, and hopefully Olise will come to Liverpool. And if he does, I'll be very, very happy. Gonna cover a couple more things before I finish. I was just gonna do an hour. Big up the chat. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. There's 28 of you in here now. We can hit those likes. It obviously helps the algorithm. That'd be great. I'm just going to share this as well. And you can laugh and joke whatever you want, but the guy just scored a hat-trick. The guy just scored a hat-trick, and they were a hat-trick of tap-ins. How do you feel he's going to be under the slot? Do you think he's going to score 20 goals next season in the Premier League under slot? Yes or no? Yes or no? What do you think? There's 25 of you in here. Come on. Let's have a little bit of show in the chat. So Gang and Dick doesn't think he will. Okay, that's fair. Colin thinks he will. I actually think he will, by the way. I think he will score more goals under slot. No, but I hope I'm proved wrong. And I 100% hope I'm proved wrong in a lot of things about players. He will get 15 max. Okay. System dependent, yes. He needs to stay in the box the whole game, 100%. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. I feel that Nunez has been used the wrong way and he's coming to the ball too much and he's trying to do too much. Oh, I'm liking the confidence. Trevor says yes. Slot uses the same formation as Uruguay. He absolutely does. Spot on, Richard. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I think he's going to be a monster under slot. If slot plays the 4-2-3-1, which is what Uruguay use, and he does get a little bit involved in the build-up, but he's not in midfield. In the build-up, he's in attack. He's in attack when he's in the build-up. If you look at the way he scored those 3 goals, and also how he kind of created one of them himself by taking the ball and passing it wide, I think he's going to be sensational. He needs to be the focal point. He needs to be the focal point. I don't think he's been the focal point for Liverpool. Everybody has to be able to get the best. 100%. 100%. I think he's going to absolutely cook for Uruguay, and I think Uruguay might win the Copa because he looks like a monster. He brings everyone into the game. He needs to stay in the box. He's a threat. Klopp never used Darwin the right way. If Slot does, so how do you feel though? Do you feel if Slot uses Darwin the way he uses Jimenez? Yeah, and what we'll do actually is we'll actually have a look at Jimenez. By the way, so we're going to have a look at Jimenez now. So we're going to have a look at Jimenez. Santiago Jimenez. And the interesting thing is Darwin scored 3 goals against Mexico, and Santiago Jimenez was playing for Mexico and he didn't score. Thought I just mentioned that. So we're going to look at Santiago Jimenez. Here he is. Okay. Right. All competitions we're going to bring up. Okay. Okay. So he had a really good season. Okay. That is just a fact. 29 starts. Can you see my screen? Yeah, you can. 29 starts, 23 goals, 6 assists. That's a Darwin Nunez season before he came to Liverpool. It really is. It really is. And the season before, 21 starts, 15 goals, 2 assists. So he's a bit of a goal monster. He was a goal monster under Slot. So in total, 105 shots. So Nunez had 107, scored 16. You know, he's in a harder league, much harder league, and Slot is playing the best football for Jimenez by the looks of it. If Slot plays the best football for Nunez, which could be the way Jimenez plays, then I could see Nunez hitting 23 goals. If Nunez scored 20 goals next season, are you happy? Are you happy with that? If he scores 20 goals next season and he has 100 shots, would you take that? And does that leave Nunez, the Nunez hate away? Because you'll have the likes of Salah, you'll have the likes of Gapco, Jota. You know, you got these guys who are chipping in with goals. But if Nunez takes 100 shots next season and scores 20 goals, I'm fine. I am absolutely fine with that. And I do think that if we replace Nunez, I don't think we're going to get enough money off Nunez. I don't think there's going to be suitors that are going to pay what we paid, so I don't think he'll be sold. And I don't think he'll be loaned either, because we won't want to lose whatever goals we've got from him. And if we sign Jimenez, like he's going to cost like Nunez money. He just is. He's just going to cost Nunez money. He's going to cost 60, 70 million. You know, how are they going to replace 23 goals a season guy? Like they're going to want money for him. Yeah, I think so too, Redbird. I do. I honestly do. If he scores 20 goals next season, then we're fine. We're fine. Ooh, 25. I like the optimism. I like the optimism, Trevor. I also wanted to cover. Okay, I've done that. Done Olise stuff. done Nunez stuff. PIV, I've done PIV stuff. I wanted to cover this for a couple of minutes. And I know we don't want to talk about it, but I think it probably does need to be talked about a little bit. Right, to the chat. If Manchester City are found guilty, allegedly, do you think they should be kicked out of the league? Yes or no? Do you think they should be kicked out of the league? Or do you think their owners should be kicked out of England? Because I believe the latter should happen before the first part. Because it's not actually Manchester City that are committing, allegedly, the crimes. It's the owners. So I think the owners should be punished. Absolutely gang and deep. And that's what we're getting mixed up. We seem to be getting the first part mixed up. We all want Man City to be punished. It's the ownership that should be punished. I don't think they should be stripped of their titles. I know you're not going to like it. I don't think any of that is Manchester City's fault. It's not the team's fault. Like the players haven't done anything wrong. The players have just played. Like I don't think the team should be punished. I think the ownership should be taken out of the country. Like they should be removed. Just like Abramovich was removed from Chelsea. Like they should be forced to sell the club. 100%. 100%. Like what they're being accused of is basically mafioso style stuff. It's cooking the books. It's making out you have business when you don't have business. Like it's nothing to do with the players. It's nothing to do with the management. Like they're not the ones that are cooking the books. They're not the ones that are being accused of financial wrongdoing and not reporting and all of that stuff to do with fake businesses and overinflating, sponsorship deals and stuff like that. That is the ownership. They are the ones that should have to leave. They're the ones that should be punished. And if you're doing that and you're found guilty, and you've been doing it for 10 years plus, by the way, these are the allegations, then they should be removed out of the country. And you shouldn't be able to buy a football club. Like they should not be able to buy a football club again in England. And that's just a fact. And the problem is, and this is a massive problem, by the way, and I will say it, it doesn't matter what manager they have, whether Pep leaves, whether they get a new guy. Manchester City will always win the league and dominate because of the family. Because they did it before Pep. Everyone can sit there and say Pep's this incredible manager and blah, blah, blah. They won it with Mancini and they won it with the other guy as well, who I can't remember his name. The Uruguayan, I think, or Argentinian guy. And they won it with him. So they win the league with whoever because the family can afford it. They will constantly fund them. And it's the family and it's the ownership and it's the owners that are the ones that should be punished, Pellegrini. What would I do without you, chat? What would I do without you? Pellegrini. What would I do without you? They're the ones that should be punished and they should be kicked out the club. Like Manchester City should stay in the Premier League. They haven't done anything wrong as a team. Like Kevin De Bruyne has not broken any rules. Like he's just played really well, and Haaland's just played really well. Like it's not their fault. It's not their fault. Like, and I know they were signed, and this money came from somewhere. I get that, but it's the ownership that have broke the rules allegedly. And if they get caught, which looks pretty likely now, because they're trying to sue the Premier League, they're basically doing. And I said this on a super chat on Football Terrace yesterday. They're basically doing what Lance Armstrong did. Lance Armstrong got caught cheating, yeah, and he was unhappy that he got caught cheating, so he sued the people that cheated him, that caught him cheating, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to sue the Premier League that caught them for allegedly cheating. Like, and they're trying to change the rules so so they haven't broke any rules, and they're trying to change it from 14 people to vote to 11, which is insane because that's just over half. So if Manchester City's owners can get more people to side on their side, as in, we should be able to control, like, we should be able to control our own finances. We should be able to spend what we want. And if they can get enough club owners to agree to that and they lower it to 11, there's no democracy. Like, it's literally the wild, wild west. It's literally, you can just buy whoever you want and spend whatever you want. And all the other clubs who can't, and they will never, ever be able to compete. And it will literally be like a Paris Saint-Germain. Like, it will literally be like the French league, where you've got one club that can buy an Mbappe and pay him £1 million a week, and no other club can do that. And it's just not fair. Like, and it's just going to turn the Premier League into a mockery. And I'm all for the Premier League fighting these charges, and I'm all for all the clubs that think Manchester City owners are unlawful, and they should testify and give evidence against them. And if they do, and they lose this, and then they lose the next fight in November because they're found guilty, then they should be kicked out. They should be kicked out of their club. The owners should be forced to leave Manchester City, and the government should step in and make that happen. And that's what should happen. 100%. 100%. Manchester City shouldn't be banned from the Premier League, and they shouldn't be stripped from their titles, because the team and the players are the ones that won that, and they haven't done anything wrong. Like, and I know we want more titles, and I know that would be wonderful, but I just don't think it's fair. And all those other clubs that want to sue Manchester City's owners for loss of earnings and all of that stuff, they can do all that. I don't care about that. But I just want those owners to be removed if they're found guilty. And if they're found innocent, they're found innocent. We just need to move on. Like, this doesn't need to be a cloud that hangs over us. Like, the fact that we almost won the league. We were 1 point behind. We were 1 point like we just need to move on. That manager's left now, and he's left his legacy, and we've got a new manager in slot taking over, and now he's going to be at the club, and our expectations are going to be what our expectations are. Like, I'm happy with a Champions League finish and a good cup run. Maybe we get to the Champions League final again. Maybe we win an FA Cup. That would be amazing under slot for a first season. That would be fantastic. But we just need to move on. And if they're found guilty, I think the owners should be kicked out of the country, 100%. If they're not, it is what it is. And I'll leave it on that, everyone, okay? Hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful rest of your day. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to my video, please do. I really appreciate it. And it'd be great to maybe get 20 likes or so, because I don't seem to get a lot of likes on my videos, so that would be amazing. I'm going to start doing 2 videos a week. So I'm going to be doing one before the weekend and one after the weekend. So I can talk about what happened at the weekend, and then I can talk about what happened at the week. So that's where I tie in. And I'll still be doing shows with Jamie. I'll still be doing shows with G. I'm going to start doing a show on a Monday with Monts, which is the Liverpool review. So check out for that. Also, when I go live and when I go live on other people's shows, I will always write on my Facebook page, on my YouTube channel, the links, and I'll share it so you know when I'm going live and when I'm going on other people's shows. Yeah, this season coming, I'm going to put a bit more of an effort. I really want to get 1,000 subscribers. That's kind of my goal, is to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which would be great. I did this for fun. And I really started this so I could talk to some of my mates that I don't live nearby, and we did shows, and then obviously it got quite popular, and then people asked me to go on their shows, and kind of just continued from there. But I'm a geek, I'm a stato, like I obviously know the numbers, that's kind of what I'm about. In my day-to-day job, I deal with a lot of numbers and management. I work for a massive IT company, like massive IT company. So that's kind of why I've got the brain for this stuff. Sometimes I get things wrong, sometimes I don't. I do think we'll sign Olise. I do think we'll sign Ederson. And I do think there will be a surprise left back coming in, potentially from Fulham. I haven't said too much there. Maybe from Leicester. There's another left back that we're looking at from Leicester. He could be from Scandinavia. Just going to say that. That's what I've heard. But yeah, big up everyone. Have a good weekend. Up the Reds.
No one knows me like you. Love the way you do. Just hold me tight. No